Welcome back, guys. I trust you're fine. Now, the case of mohbad is still unraveling. As at the last update I put out today, Naira Marley had also landed in Nigeria and he was arrested immediately he got to Lagos. He would go on to tweet that he had submitted himself to the police to help further the investigation in trying to get justice for Mohbad. So, according to him, that's his way of playing his part. I don't know if he's just trying to play politics or that is him being sincere, but either way, he was arrested by the police. Fast forward, they were brought before a court today, the Wednesday, that's the 4th of October 2023. Now, they were brought before this court in Lagos, and the court granted the police the authority to hold them for 21 days in custody. Them here refers to Naira Marley and Sam Larry. So now, I think that we are making progress now. Not to say progress was not made earlier, but I think this is very crucial to breaking this case or moving on from some of the controversial and skeptical stories out there. The conspiracies are so many, and most of them are circling around the character called Naira Marley and his so-called henchman, Sam Larry. They are now in the custody of the police, and a court, as at today, the 4th of October 2023, has granted the police the right to hold them for 21 days in custody. So, after that ruling, Naira Marley is now being questioned by the police, and they are not giving further details yet. And I respect that, because I think that it's too soon for the police to reveal any information that they will get from their engagement with Naira Marley. I think that they need to tread cautiously, and I believe that's what they are doing. Additionally, that unnamed nurse who allegedly injected mohbad has also been arrested. But then, the outrage has not actually been targeted towards that nurse. The outrage of the public mostly has been targeted at Naira Marley, who is the boss of Mohbad's former label. And this is coming from the conspiracy theories that he had bad blood with Mohbad because he left the label. And in as much as I'm not trying to be a jury and a judge and executioner on this case, I think that Naira Marley has already lost this case in the court of public opinion. I don't think it's fair to him, but that is how these sentiments go. The moment somebody passes, if you had an issue with him, everybody or most people begin to take their emotions out on you. And I think that's the position that Naira Marley is currently in. It's unfortunate, but I understand. And it looks like the court of public opinion is not ready to let Naira Marley go, because even where it's looking like somebody else seemingly independent of Naira Marley has made a mistake, some people would still want to expand the conspiracy theories to include the possibility that that person's supposed mistake was not actually a mistake, but it was all part of the grand scheme of things being orchestrated by Naira Marley, who is behind the scenes with a goal and a sole objective of making sure that Mohbad will lose his life. And I feel that at a point we have to cut Naira Marley some slack. At least in the eyes of the law, he's supposed to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, but sometimes these things are easier said than done. But I think that all in all, it's also good that he has availed himself. Now the police are going to question him. They've actually started. And I think it's going to speed up the investigation. Imagine after everything, it turns out that Naira Marley has actually been cleared of all suspicion. Imagine how that will go. Some radio stations have actually banned his song. They've banned the playing of his song on their airwaves. And I asked myself why. Granted that there are some videos of Sam Larry allegedly heckling Mohbad and also sort of maltreating him. I don't think there is any established substantial evidence that Sam Larry's actions were being dictated by Naira Marley. So for Naira Marley to suffer all these things, I think it's a bit too drastic. And I'm hoping that the investigation will either justify his innocence or justify the actions taken by the court of public opinion, who have actually had some people also initiate cancel culture against Naira Marley. Naira Marley honestly has been through so much since the passing of Mohbad. But this outrage, like I said, has been mainly directed at him because just over a year ago, Mohbad left Naira Marley's Malian Records label. And the story out there is that following Mohbad's departure, Mohbad claimed he suffered a campaign of abuse and attempts on his life by elements from that Malian's label, led by Naira Marley, allegedly. Now, if you know a bit about Naira Marley, you know that he has a dark past of a sort. He's had a brush with the law. He spent some time in prison. So I believe this makes it easier for people to conclude he's still having some evil intentions for Mohbad. It makes the stories easy to believe, but that in itself, for me, doesn't make them true. The fact that your emotions make you easily believe something does not necessarily mean that it's true and the guy you believe it about is actually guilty. That is where the crux of the issue is. And I think that the law will have to get in, dig deeper, and establish some of these things. I would not be surprised if at the end of all these investigations with DNA, postmortem and all, findings from the police could actually turn out that there was foul play, but then the culprits or culprits are even people who were never mentioned in all these circulating conspiracy theories. Most often, the people who are actually behind it might actually be playing the part of people who are advocating for justice for Mohbad, showing fake love in the eyes of the public, but within them, they might have certain bad intentions or might even be complicit in the untimely passing of this promising and budding young Nigerian musician. So I think that there are interesting days ahead. There are very, very interesting days ahead. And I'm happy with how the police are playing this. Although some people are also skeptical, and I respect the skepticism because some people believe that all this is a charade, that Naira Marley is actually covered or protected by the politicians, and they are just putting up this charade to make the general public feel like he has gone through the rigors of investigation and he has also submitted himself to the rule of law. I don't rule that possibility out. Yeah, he's rich and powerful, allegedly very, very rich. And in Africa, or at least in some African countries like Nigeria, if you have that wealth and influence, trust you me, you can pull some strings. As to which strings, I'm not so sure. So there is also that possibility. But then again, giving the police some credit, there's also the possibility they are doing this by the book, devoid of fear or favor. But then, talking about the police, some people are also angry with them because when they decided to finally delve into this case and launch an investigation, they asked the public to grant them 2 weeks. As it stands now, the 2 weeks are up and they are still not done with their investigations. Neither have they come out to share concrete findings so far per where they may have got into. I don't think they are obliged to get into details. Maybe they could give an update and, out of respect to the public, at least explain why they haven't been able to meet their 2 weeks deadline. But as to they coming to give details of their findings. I think for security reasons and the possible success of the uncompleted investigation, it might be good they hold on with certain key information. But this case is looking like it's still far from over. Just that now the major players are in. With Naira Marley in Nigeria, Sam Larry in Nigeria, autopsy now in the pipeline, and every other player also around except for the best friend of Mohbad, who was in the car with him making that video announcing his passing to the world, who now turns out to be on the run. A warrant has been issued for his arrest by the court because he failed to submit himself to the police when he was requested to do so. I don't understand why some people do that. That in itself makes you look suspicious. But hey, like I always say, everybody is presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond doubt by the law courts, or let me say beyond reasonable doubt, that is. So, like I said, interesting days ahead, but I feel that there are things that are going to unravel in the end, and some will shock some people. I'll not be surprised. The people who might be found culpable might even be people who are very close to Mohbad and might be trying to champion the advocacy for justice for him. In the meantime, also, Mohbad's father seems to be suggesting that a DNA be done on Mohbad's son, just so they are sure. So there is a whole lot of things going, because if that suggestion has come, then by extension, it means that they have doubts about Mohbad's wife, who is also alleged to have been the sole financial beneficiary of his estate, or at least majority of it. So if you look at it from the angle of motive, I think some people have motive, and then the motive could be positive, as in gaining financially if Mohbad is no more, or the motive could also be that people are holding grudges because it looks like his dad sort of had some pain or grudge that his son hadn't done anything for him. I don't know if that statement he made about his house not being built by his son before his passing was misconstrued or taken out of context, but all these create a very rich menu of conspiracy, not to talk about the Malian records issues, Naira Marley, Sam Larry, and all the other people in the mix. Not to talk about what allegedly has been happening to other signees and former signees of the Malian records label, and by extension, it shouldn't be a surprise this has happened to Mohbad. Look, there are interesting days ahead. In my whole life, I've never seen an African musician pass on, and his passing triggering such crazy controversy and conspiracies. Honestly, I have never seen this. And I think that it's very unfortunate that Mohbad had to pass before his star could shine like this. I think that when people are alive, give them all the help that you can. Don't wait for them to pass before you start fighting for them. There are very key people who have stood tall fighting or seemingly fighting for justice for Mohbad, but I'm wondering where that energy was when he was alive. Obviously, maybe you wouldn't have taken so much time and energy to fight for him because, the passing of a person triggers a lot of emotions. I respect that. But all I'm saying is, let's do better when people are alive. So I'm still following the case, and like I always do, I'll bring you the updates as and when they are due. But go to the comment section and let me know this. Do you think that Sam Larry and Naira Marley are actually going to be questioned properly by the police without fear or favor, and they'll be taken through the rigorous justice mill and the rule of law? Let me know. Until then, keep an eye out, stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.